With contract updates and more, this is Pro Wrestling Central. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Going over the TV deals reached for AAA, Dave Meltzer wrote in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE's gotten a new television and streaming deal for AAA in Mexico, as well as South and Central America aside from Brazil. The deal calls for various Fox properties to broadcast all major AAA shows in those regions starting in 2026, and AAA will be considered sports content. Those in Mexico downplayed this deal, saying that none of those outlets have much in the way of viewership in Mexico. Similarly, AEW, which is on Fox Sports Mexico, is also on an outlet with limited viewership. On Instagram, LASH legend revealed that fellow NXT star Trick Williams proposed to her, posting this video and writing, "A million times yes. As I'm making this post, I'm getting emotional again, but of pure joy, happiness, and peace. If you know me, you know I don't play about my man. I love him more than words could ever put together. So honored, blessed, and thankful to spend the rest of my life with my handsome bestie, Trick Williams." Criticizing WWE for the lack of build toward the men's War Games match at Survivor Series, AEW's Thunder Rosa said this on Busted Open Radio. "I don't know, I think the men's build-up was kind of whack, so I started with the women. Sorry men, we're pushing you aside. Think about it, those are like the biggest stars, biggest egos. Cody has been the face of WWE for a while. Then it comes like CM Punk, and then you have your tribal chief, who again was the face of WWE for years. He's like, okay guys, listen, they forced me to come here because we have to sell tickets. Survivor Series is not sold out. Tickets are expensive. They need to sell tickets. So they better bring every single star that they have for this show. And it's the first show in a baseball stadium. They better bring everybody to this show. So it will be dumb for WWE not to do this. This is very strategical, yes. And this is the reason why you and I are like, it's lacking storyline, because it really is. WWE released an ad for WrestleMania 42 with stars from the women's roster. Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer were noticeably absent, which upset many fans. Here's some of the replies. "They cut Liv. How disrespectful. Where is the women's world champion Stephanie Vaquer? Damn, the aura. But where is Liv? Where's Goat Morgan? Where is Liv? And she? You represented only a handful of the women's locker room. Vaquer and Julia are nowhere to be seen. Typical of WWE. Where is she? So why was Liv seen with the girls if she ain't in the ad and she also was all dressed up? Did they remove her part? Why did they get her to shoot in the first place? No Stephanie Vaquer? They lack table to fill it with so much female talent, but I can't forgive them for not having world champion Stephanie Vaquer there. No Stephanie? No Bianca? No Liv?" Providing an update on the health of Kenny Omega and his future in AEW, Ringside News wrote that Kenny Omega may be back in the ring, but his fight with diverticulitis is far from over, and AEW is adjusting its game plan accordingly. After being hospitalized in December 2023 with a life-threatening diverticulitis infection and undergoing surgery in May 2024 to remove 25 centimeters of his colon, Omega returned to action, but even now his health continues to fluctuate on a daily basis, limiting how hard he can go in the ring. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Omega's condition is directly shaping AEW's current creative direction. The company is reportedly trying to avoid putting him in long singles matches, instead opting for a safer workload that still keeps him on TV. That approach may have played into Omega's recent reunion with the Young Bucks at Full Gear on November 22nd, where the Elite reunited after a win over Jurassic Express. While Omega hasn't spoken publicly about the changes in creative, his ongoing health battle makes it clear that long-term management is key. Teaming with the Bucks gives him space to perform without the heavy demands of singles bouts, allowing him to work smarter, not harder, as his recovery continues. Omega's drive hasn't changed, but his body forces him to approach each match differently than before. AEW's careful handling of his return signals that they're thinking big picture, not just about the next feud. Despite Santos Escobar seeing his WWE contract expire and then signing a new deal, the star is yet to return to programming for the company. Talking about this situation, Brian Alvarez noted on Wrestling Observer Live, "I know he signed a new contract, and I know it was a very big contract. Whatever you think about WWE booking, they're not going to sign this guy to this kind of money and not push him. WWE believes we actually need a real idea for this before we bring him back. I know one of his requests with his new contract was that he wanted a personal meeting with Triple H to discuss his future plans, so they're going to come up with something and give him a big push. With the money he's making, he could sit at home for a while. He's got no problems with that." Previously, Ric Flair made headlines when he claimed that street drugs led to Hulk Hogan's untimely passing. Now he has taken to X to clarify his comments. "There seems to be some controversy over my remarks that street drugs killed Hulk Hogan. I only was repeating what I know to be a fact through family members. After 11 back surgeries, hip replacements, knee replacements, shoulder replacement, and 2 neck surgeries, I am sure the pain was unbearable. A doctor, as I know, can only prescribe so much pain medication under medical guidelines. I've been told that all they did was to help him, not to hurt him. Eventually that catches up with you, as we know with everybody. He was my friend, a man I respected, and I'm only repeating what I've been told. Nothing more, nothing less. This was not an attempt to demean Hulk Hogan or his legacy. I have always referred to him as being one of the 2 biggest stars in the industry, himself and Steve Austin. I apologize if people misunderstood my statement. Hulkamania forever." Outside of the Petco Park venue in San Diego, where WWE will hold Survivor Series, a billboard shows an advertisement for AEW Dynamite. Explaining why he and his brother Phoenix left AEW for WWE, Penta told Mafufa's Chronicles, "We spent 5 years there in AEW, which I'm grateful for, but eventually I was fully Penta. My brother was fully Rey Fenix, and the opportunity came for me to go to WWE. And believe me, people say, bro, what were you waiting for? Go." But no, man, it was a very hard decision, a really tough one, because you're basically going in blind. You're taking a chance, you're leaving your comfort zone, where you already know how things work, where you earn certain money, you can wrestle wherever you want. It's comfortable. I also had more control in AEW, but deep down, you know there's something missing. It wasn't money, it wasn't fame, it was competitive hunger, growth. That's what finally took us to WWE. My brother, he can tell you himself. We were still working for the other company, and in the hotels, we'd be like, bro, look at this. Yes, no, pros, cons. One of us was yes, the other was no. We came together, we leave together. What do? When it comes to the possibility of Chris Jericho returning to WWE after his AEW deal expires, Dave Meltzer wrote this in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. "This one is a Jericho decision, and all hints are in the WWE direction. I know that WWE has offered him a retirement storyline, and those in WWE have said that's what they'd be interested in. Others expect him to be there early next year, but nothing is confirmed. AEW President Tony Khan previously told Adam's Apple that he hopes Jericho finishes his career in All Elite Wrestling. I've loved having Chris here, and I love Chris in AEW and outside of the ring. I would love it if Chris's final matches, eventually, whenever Chris someday would want to hang it up, were in AEW. Touching on WWE potentially letting Andrade wrestle for other promotions prior to the one-year non-compete clause ending, this was written in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. The idea Andrade ended up leaving WWE on the best terms is as completely opposite to how WWE described it as possible. They claimed multiple drug test failures and he was fired, and because he was fired for disciplinary reasons, they felt they didn't have to pay the usual 90-day severance and still hold him to a non-compete for a year worldwide. During an interview with Los Protagonistas, Andrade said this about the contract situation and his firing from WWE. The contract I signed, the lawyer did not realize a clause of 12 months without competition. At first, I didn't have clause. I could fight leaving WWE. Then the clause came when they saw me debut in AEW. My lawyers are already talking to the WWE lawyers. They have reached a good arrangement. I think I have a date and my lawyer too, but it remains for WWE to officially sign it. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.